Alright, that's the radiator support. See, I'll have to mock it in there and see where I'm going to weld it. Alright, so what the plan is to bolt that right there onto a piece of angle iron. That I'm gonna weld right here. I'll tack weld it in, and then the bar will shoot across here, bolt into the angle iron, and when I get the height right, I'll just clamp it here, and when I get the height where I want it, I'll just weld that angle iron in, and then that should do it for the radiator support. Okay, so I was thinking also I could weld a piece of angle that would weld on here and stick out like right here with a hole right there, and then I could run a piece of all thread down and put a washer on it, and then I would just be able to adjust it from right here. I'd screw the nut and it would bring that up to the right height, and I could also use it as a clamping force depending on what I do up top. But that's just, I'm just spitballing right now. Alright, I just made these, and I think I'm going to put them in like this, not like this. Like that. On each side. And this is pretty heavy stuff, but at least I can nut it on each side of the bracket, and it'll be really sturdy and no, it won't be flimsy. But just like that, and then weld some kind of a washer or something right here. Alright, I can make some spacers later to make this look right, and I could even make a sleeve here so that looks better, but it's not tacked in yet. I'm gonna tack it in and then move up to the top and see about what I'm gonna do to attach the top. I have to get in there and clean the paint off and tack weld that. That's as far forward as, or as far towards the balancer as I can get it at the bottom and still feel like I have plenty of space. But I have to figure out how I'm going to lean this, if I'm going to lean it at all. This is already up against the bumper, and I might have to carve the bumper, but I'm thinking I'll figure out a bar to go across here, and then I'll use some clamps and make a bar that comes across here and pushes down on this and then clamps to the bar here, which may or may not go straight across. It might even come down. I have to plan it, but I might have an upright that's going to hold this bracket right here, a pipe come up like this and then go across this way, and then have a bar that comes down and clamps it. Alright, step one complete. Gotta tacked it in. It should be strong enough to hold it while I make sure everything's where it wants to be. The good thing is this thing will pivot so that I can get the proper angle when I decide to angle. So right there, it needs to lean back for sure. I can raise it up, and I might, because it needs to almost touch this tube. So I got a 1/2 inch, I can still raise it up. That's the good thing about it being adjustable. Now I can raise the radiator and lower the radiator as I please till I get it where I want it perfectly. Okay, now we're looking a little bit more professional here, but just keep in mind that this is adjustable right now, and it could stay that way. I might just leave it that way, but I could also at some point cut a pipe and weld it from here to here and be more traditional. But I don't want to move too fast because I have no idea what I'm going to do up on the top, since I'm just winging it. So yeah, I could always weld a tube here and it'd look pretty good, a lot better than this kind of looks, you know, hardware story, you know, a little bit hardware store, but you know, it's functional. I think I'm gonna stop for now on this. I got it pretty close to where I want it, but until I have the elbow for this, so I know if I gotta raise this, lower it, or where it's gotta go, I'm not gonna do anything else. These fenders are going to eventually have to come off if I want to connect to that bar right there and then come around like this. But seeing how this tube is probably, well, actually the elbow will probably cut down right here, and there'll be plenty of room right here to put in a pipe, and it'd be nice to bolt this to the pipe or tube or whatever. But this will stay on when the fender comes off, so this would be a good indication of where the tubing needs to be. But I kind of need to figure out how I'm going to map that. If I take this front stuff off, I'm not going to have it there to guide where the bar should go. I don't know, I might want to bend some conduit, and it'd be a cheap way to test fit before I build. There, all the high voltage wires are going through the bulkhead nicely now. Alright, I had this down in my basement. This looks in a lot better shape than the one that's on there, so I'll probably just put this one on. Now that one that I just put on wasn't perfect, so I'm going to order another one and fix this one. And the next time that breaks, I'll have one ready to go. Rolled over to 0 miles just now. Got 0 miles on it. This is the 4R70W. And the drive shaft fits. I believe this is the same bolt pattern and bolt size. So I got this converter in. I'm kind of hoping that these screw out and they're the same as these. Same as these, hopefully, when I unscrew these. Although there's a chance they're not, because that it's not the same. Then I got to figure out the wiring. This bracket, it'll go on like this. I think it's gonna end up bolting on these two bolts because they were almost the same. And then this motor mount is different, and I have to go down. I moved the transmission. I'll have to go down and get the mount and see if that works, but I think I'm gonna slap it up in there and bolt it onto the motor. See how that goes. Okay. Let's see here. That's how tight that fits. I might have to cut this lip out so that it's not rubbing on the pan. And then there's a bolt right there and a bolt right there, and maybe I can get a C4 mount on it, but it's getting late, so maybe my next day off. By the way, those transmission lines bolted right in, and I gotta find a dipstick. It seems like the dipstick from the AOD fits the O-ring size, but Google said that it won't measure the fluid right, but I might use it anyway. Because they're $150. That's the clearance. So I need to figure out how to wire it. It's fit surprisingly well. I didn't have to shim it. It had the 3/16, so everything's going pretty smooth. Okay, so this is the bracket here for this transmission, and I think this one's gonna have to come off somehow, and a new bracket's gonna have to go on that will help this cable bolt right here, and then I'd be able to like slide it back and forth to get the adjustment. So yeah, I'll probably have to order something, and I'm not really sure how this bracket would even come off. Probably have to ruin it. Well, that's the other end. So if I get a new cable, it'll have to be able to bolt to that. And then be able to bolt to that. This is the shifter. It has 1D and overdrive, but it doesn't have a second, which I find kind of weird. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 D-tents, including park. Alright, I got this B&M shifter with instructions and everything that I tried to use on the C4 in the convertible the first time. Get out of there, mister. What are you doing? That's the box. It was supposed to work on a C4, but it says AOD on it, and I think that this 4W or 4RW70W has the same shift pattern. In fact, this says 1-2 drive. Get out of there, Momo. This says 1-2 drive on it instead of 1 drive overdrive. So I'm guessing it's the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, the shifter's basically the same, but this one's one of those ratcheting ones, and it comes with the cable. So that bolt hole right there might be the one I need. And then this looks like it would bolt to the bracket. Actually, it bolts to this right here. So, and then it has different detents. I'll have to read the instructions. Yeah, this isn't going to work because it needs that special shifter bar that would eliminate this whole electronic thing. And even if I could get this up high enough, I'd have to bang a big huge dent right here just to get it to work. So there's a kit online that'll utilize that bracket. So I might still be able to use the shifter, but no, not this cable.